Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something literally every single one of us has experienced, but, well, very few of us actually understand. We're going to be unpacking the Honors Program Guide, and we'll start with Dr. Susan Edwards' foundational core essay, The Art and Science of Play. Get ready because we're about to explore the surprising biology and the incredibly deep philosophy behind exactly why we have fun. As you'll see, play is way, way more than just taking a break from work. Okay, let's dive into this by starting with a simple question. When was the absolute last time you played? Seriously, I want you to challenge yourself right now to remember your last moment of just pure, frivolous fun. I don't mean a scheduled workout and definitely not some forced corporate team building exercise. I'm talking about a moment where you just completely lost yourself simply for the sake of joy. You got it? Okay, hold on to that feeling. We're going to dissect exactly what was happening in your brain and your body during that exact moment. Part 1. The Art of Play. So to really get this, we kind of need to completely reframe our perspective. So often in our adult lives, we just write off playtime as childish goofing off, right? Like it's something we're only allowed to do after all the quote-unquote real work is finished. But the research tells a completely different story. Play isn't a distraction from our development. It's actually a fundamental pillar of human evolution. To see just how deep this goes, let's look at a concept from physician Stuart Brown. He's the founder of the National Institute for Play, and he points out that play is pre-conscious and pre-verbal. What does that mean? Well, it means the urge to play arises out of these incredibly ancient biological structures in our brains, structures that existed way before our consciousness or our ability to speak even developed. According to Brown, play is done entirely for its own sake. There's no immediate life or death survival value to it right in that moment. Yet we are fundamentally wired to seek it out anyway. It's voluntary, it literally frees us from the constraints of time, and it totally diminishes our self-consciousness. And honestly, when we follow that instinct to play, the biological rewards are absolutely massive. Doing it rapidly reduces our stress levels. It literally increases our brain function and our language ability. It promotes better sleep, boosts our goal-setting capabilities, and builds this incredible sense of trust and connection with the people around us. Even the great Greek philosopher Aristotle noted that humans are social animals by nature. When we share the experience of play, our brains dump these amazing endorphins. These feel-good chemicals go to work directly counteracting cortisol, which, as you probably know, is our body's primary stress hormone. So you aren't just having fun, you are literally fighting off stress at a chemical level. How cool is that? Part 2. The Anatomy of Fun. Okay, so we know what play does for us biologically, but how do we actually experience fun? Think back to that memory I asked you to recall earlier, or maybe just a time you recently played a really great game. Intellectual historian Scott Eberl mapped out this fascinating 6-step process of play, and this brilliantly illustrates the mechanics of it. It starts with anticipation, that little bit of anxiety and curiosity about what to expect. Then comes surprise, a sudden discovery or a shift in perspective. That triggers pleasure, the pure good feelings of fun. Next up is understanding, where you're acquiring new knowledge, and that naturally leads to strength, which is that awesome boost in self-confidence you get from mastering the game. Finally, it all results in poise, a really beautiful sense of balance, grace, and contentment. Pretty much every great game you have ever loved walks you through this exact sequence of emotions and growth. Which brings us to a pretty powerful realization. Author Oliver Burkeman highlights this concept of our finitude. Basically, if we live to be 80 years old, we essentially only have about 4,000 weeks to live, work, and create meaning. Just let that sink in for a second. 4,000 weeks. That's it. It perfectly echoes Ferris Bueller's classic advice, right? Life moves pretty fast, and if you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. Play is exactly how we stop, look around, and actually enjoy the finite world we've been given. Part 3. The Essence of Play. So moving from Dr. Edwards' core essay, we're going to plunge deep into theme 1 of the source material. And here we face a classic philosophical face-off about human nature itself. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the contrast. Over on one side, we have early theorists like Johann Huizinga, who argue that play is entirely innate, like it's cellular and it's actually older than culture itself. But on the flip side, we have Dorothy and Jerome Singer. They use the theories of Piaget and Freud to argue that play is a learned behavior, one that primarily supports our social learning and our development. It begs the ultimate question, are we born playing, or do we play to learn how to live? To really grasp the magnitude of that innate argument, just consider this incredible quote from Huizinga's 1938 work, Homo Ludens. He wrote, "Play is older than culture, for culture presupposes human society, and animals have not waited for man to teach them their playing." Wow. I mean, it's an awe-inspiring thought, isn't it? Play isn't something humans just invented one day when we got bored. It's a fundamental cellular instinct that exists completely independently of human civilization. Think about it. Dogs, dolphins, monkeys, they all play without needing a structured society to teach them the rules. Because of this deep complexity, modern scholars have actually created an entirely distinct academic discipline called play studies. It's not just physical education. It's this amazing contemporary integration of child development, the arts, philosophy, and even leisure studies. Academics like Mihai Sporiosu in his work Dionysus Reborn, they merge science and philosophy to treat play with the high level of serious academic rigor it truly deserves, which really helps us map out our natural foundations. Part 4. Building Human Resilience. Transitioning to our final major concept here, we're moving from philosophy to its ultimate practical application. Basically, play acts as an evolutionary sandbox. It provides a completely safe, highly controlled environment for organisms of all ages, and yes, I mean adults, not just children, to freely explore their imagination, their physical dexterity, their cognitive development, and even their empathy. It's literally a practice arena for life. So the crucial point is that play provides learning through failure, but without the life-threatening consequences. Out in the wild, failing usually means game over, right? But in play, failing just means you get to try again. It's exactly how members of any species learn self-regulation. By failing safely in games and play, we build the emotional maturity and the resilience required to adapt to the unpredictable and, let's face it, often unforgiving real world. And that brings us to the core question of our explainer and a thought I really want to leave you with today. Does failure help build resilience in an organism? Well, the science and the philosophy we've explored today emphatically say yes. Every single time you play, every time you take a risk in a game and fail, you are actively leveling up your ability to survive and thrive. So look at your calendar, look at those 4,000 weeks of yours, and ask yourself how you can play it forward. How can you build your own resilience through daily fun? Thanks so much for exploring the art and science of play with me today. See you next time.